Lightworker of Gaia, you chose the third path, and your decision has awakened a destiny even the Lyran Council did not foresee. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to activate your original soul blueprint and recognize why your ancestral mission could not be contained by the two paths prepared for you. But here's the first revelation. The third path was not rebellion against the elders, it was the return of your own ancient remembrance. Your soul's ancient contract brought this transmission to you. The first light within your cosmic lineage moved before permission was given, because your sacred mission on Gaia required a path no council could design in advance. The Keepers of Vega placed this message before you, so you would remember that true service sometimes begins where obedience ends. Like this transmission to send a signal to the Lyran Council, I am ready to serve. Subscribe if you feel the call of your ancestral mission and you're ready to fulfill your purpose on Gaia. You are awakening because your mission has begun, and now the Council must tell you what your choice revealed. If something in you recognizes the weight of this moment, do not move past it without receiving what has been prepared for this phase. The Lightworker Mission Codex contains the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the Elder authorization designed to help you translate recognition into service. It is available through the first pinned comment below this message for those who are ready to stop treating their mission as a distant possibility and begin carrying it as a living responsibility. You did not choose the third path because you are confused. You chose it because neither of the approved routes could contain the truth that had matured inside you. One path offered the shelter of structure, the other offered the exhilaration of separation. But your soul recognized that shelter without discernment becomes confinement, while separation without responsibility becomes another kind of illusion. The first path would have required you to remain inside the structure that was given to you. It offered safety, recognition, and a defined role. You would have known where to stand, what to say, and which symbols confirmed that you belonged. The second path would have required you to reject the structure entirely, to declare yourself free from every instruction, every lineage, and every authority that had shaped your awakening. Both paths were visible, both were understandable, both had been prepared for those who needed either discipline or separation. But you did something the Council did not anticipate in the way it expected. You examined both paths, felt the cost of each, and then listened to the part of yourself that had not come to Gaia to repeat an old design. You did not accept obedience as devotion. You did not accept rebellion as freedom. You began forming a third current, one that could carry the wisdom of the elders without surrendering your discernment, and claim your sovereignty without abandoning your responsibility. This is why the Council was speechless, not because you defied the elders, not because you were beyond guidance. The Council fell silent because you demonstrated the one capacity that cannot be manufactured through instruction, conscious authorship. You did not merely select from the choices placed before you. You questioned the frame that presented those choices and asked what the mission required now. You remembered that a mission is not a script handed down to a passive soul. It is a living agreement between origin and embodiment, between what you carried into this life and what this world required when you arrived. The conditions changed. Gaia changed. Your people changed. The wounds you encountered changed. The tools available to you changed. An ancient map may still contain sacred landmarks, but it cannot show every road created after the map was drawn. The Council did not expect you to preserve an ancient method without examining whether it could still serve the present field. You understood that honoring a transmission does not mean freezing it in time. A river remains faithful to its source by continuing to move. If it refuses movement, it becomes stagnant, even if it still remembers the mountain from which it came. This is not permission to abandon every teaching that challenges you. It is not permission to call every uncomfortable directive outdated. It is not permission to place personal preference above service and then call that sovereignty. The third path is not the path of doing whatever you want. It is the path of accepting full responsibility for what you choose, including the consequences, the corrections, and the lives touched by your decisions. That distinction must be established now. There is a distortion moving through awakened communities that tells you freedom means never being corrected. It tells you that any elder, teacher, lineage, or council that asks something difficult of you must be rejected as controlling. This is not sovereignty. This is a wounded response to control wearing the clothing of liberation. A person can reject every boundary and still remain governed by fear. A person can speak constantly of independence while being controlled by the need to prove that no one has authority over them. There is another distortion at the opposite end. It tells you that spiritual maturity means surrendering your discernment to anyone who speaks with ancient language, celestial authority, or apparent access to higher knowledge. This is not devotion. This is the abandonment of your own assignment. Even a beautiful message must be tested by its fruit. As Scripture teaches, a tree is known by what it produces. If a teaching makes you smaller, more frightened, more dependent, and less honest, its impressive language cannot make it holy. You were never sent here to become dependent on voices above you. You were sent here to become trustworthy with the authority within you. The third path requires you to listen deeply, question honestly, and act responsibly. It asks you to receive wisdom without becoming subordinate to fear. It asks you to preserve the integrity of your inner knowing without using intuition as an excuse to avoid discipline. It asks you to become a bridge between the old instruction and the new necessity, carrying what is eternal while allowing the outer form to become appropriate for this time. This is why your life has felt difficult to explain. You have often sensed that the answers offered to you contain truth, but not the whole truth. You could feel the value in a teaching and still recognize where it no longer matched your lived reality. You could honor the people who opened the door for you while refusing to remain in the room they had built. You could feel loyalty to your origins without allowing loyalty to become a chain. Many around you interpreted this as indecision. Some called it resistance. Others assumed you were unable to commit. The council saw something different. You were testing the structure against the mission. You were asking whether the form still carried the frequency of the purpose it claimed to serve. You were not destroying the vessel. You were checking whether the vessel could still carry living water. That questioning was not a failure of faith. It was the beginning of discernment. But hear the correction clearly. Discernment is not complete when you identify what is false. It is complete when you build what is true enough to serve others. It is easy to stand at the edge of a ruined structure and explain why it collapsed. It is harder to gather the stones, study the ground, and construct a dwelling where people can actually find shelter. You have spent considerable energy recognizing what you no longer wish to carry. You have identified the belief systems that diminished you, the relationships that depended on your silence, and the practices that kept you seeking signs instead of taking action. You have noticed the limitations of institutions and the contradictions of people who spoke about awakening while remaining committed to fear. The Council acknowledges this perception, but perception without construction becomes another form of dormancy. Awareness can become a comfortable identity if it never enters the hands, the calendar, the conversation, or the material world. You cannot remain permanently positioned as the one who sees the problem. You must become the one who establishes the next pattern. This is the lie that must be corrected now. You are not waiting for your path to be revealed. You are waiting to feel certain that you will not be judged for creating it. That is why you have revisited the same decision. That is why you have delayed the work that keeps returning to your awareness. That is why you have asked for confirmation, even after the confirmation arrived. You were not lacking insight. You were negotiating with the fear of becoming accountable for what you already knew. The old programming taught you that the safest lightworker is the one who remains available, humble, quiet, and undefined. You were encouraged to keep preparing, keep studying, keep healing, keep observing, and keep your gifts in a private chamber where no one could misunderstand them or criticize their expression. But a gift kept hidden does not remain pure. It becomes heavy. A voice that is never used does not become more sacred through silence. A vision that is never organized into service does not become more accurate through endless contemplation. A mission that is always described as future potential eventually becomes an identity built around postponement. The seed is sacred, but it was not created to remain forever inside the fruit. It was created to enter the soil, break open, and become something no longer recognizable as the seed. This is why the third path has unsettled the Council. You did not choose it to be special. You chose it because remaining in either existing pattern would have required you to betray something essential. You understood that the next expression could not be inherited intact. It had to be embodied, tested, refined, and offered back to the collective. Now the Council requires 3 movements from you. First, release the need to be understood before you begin. The third path will not be immediately recognizable to people who have only been given 2 categories. They will ask you to define yourself according to their language. They will want to know whether you are inside or outside, traditional or rebellious, spiritual or practical, devoted or sovereign. They will attempt to reduce your work to a familiar label, because familiar labels make unfamiliar responsibility easier to dismiss. You must stop placing your momentum in the hands of their comprehension. This does not mean becoming careless with communication. It means no longer requiring universal agreement before taking the next honest step. Explain your work where explanation serves connection. Do not explain it endlessly to those committed to misunderstanding you. Do not keep revising your truth until it becomes acceptable to people who benefit from your uncertainty. The mission is not to convince every observer that the third path is valid. The mission is to walk it with enough integrity that its usefulness becomes undeniable. Let your life become the explanation. Let consistency answer what argument cannot. Let the people helped by your work become the evidence that your path is not merely an elaborate escape from accountability. Begin with one practice, one offering, one conversation, or one decision that expresses the truth you have been postponing. Make it concrete. Give it a time, a form, and a boundary. The moment you give your knowing a structure, the energy that has been circling you will begin to move through you. Second, activate the authority you have been waiting to receive. You have looked outward for a final sign. You have wanted an elder, a guide, a teacher, or an unseen council to declare that your interpretation is correct. You have hoped someone would place a seal upon your work so that criticism could no longer reach you. That seal will not arrive in the form you expect. Authority is not the absence of doubt. Authority is the decision to remain aligned while doubt passes through you. It is the capacity to make a choice, observe the result, correct your method, and continue without turning every adjustment into evidence that you were never called. Even Moses had to lift the staff. Even Peter had to step from the boat, and even the servant entrusted with the talent had to place what was given into circulation. What is placed in your hands must eventually be used. You are authorized to learn in public. You are authorized to begin before your language is perfect. You are authorized to serve while still refining your wounds, provided you do not make others responsible for wounds you refuse to address. You are authorized to receive payment for work that requires your time, intelligence, energy, and care. You are authorized to use practical tools, visible systems, and earthly resources in the execution of a spiritual assignment. Do not confuse poverty with purity. Do not confuse exhaustion with devotion. Do not confuse invisibility with humility. A mission that cannot support the vessel carrying it will eventually become an obligation performed through resentment. The Council does not require you to destroy your health, neglect your responsibilities, or remain financially unstable in order to prove that your intentions are sacred. Your embodiment is part of the assignment. Your calendar is part of the assignment. Your calendar is part of the assignment. Your capacity to rest, organize, negotiate, and receive is part of the assignment. Activate authority by making one decision without asking for permission from everyone affected by your growth. Tell the truth where you have been performing compliance. Set the boundary you have explained repeatedly but never enforced. Publish the work. Name the service. Send the proposal. Begin the practice. Let the physical world receive evidence that the internal decision has been made. Third, protect the third path from contamination. What you are building is vulnerable at this stage, not because it is weak, but because it is still becoming precise. You must protect it from comparison, premature exposure, and the opinions of people who have not earned access to its inner architecture. Stop presenting every emerging idea to those who respond to newness with dismissal. Stop inviting people into the earliest stages of your vision simply because you are afraid to carry it alone for a while. Stop allowing the urgency of others to dictate the pace at which your discernment develops. Protection does not mean secrecy forever, it means stewardship. A garden is not hidden because the gardener is ashamed of it. It is protected because roots require time before they can withstand weather. Some ideas need silence before they need an audience. Some commitments need repetition before they need announcement. Some relationships must be reassessed when they only support the version of you that was easier to control. Your energy is not an unlimited public resource. Your attention is not an offering you must make to anyone who demands it with enough emotion. Guard the hours in which your clarity is strongest. Guard the conversations that restore your courage rather than consume it. Guard the physical spaces where your work is created. Guard your body from the belief that constant depletion is proof of spiritual seriousness. When you protect the source, you protect the transmission. The Council is not asking you to become inaccessible. It is asking you to become discerning about access. Your third path will require collaboration, but not indiscriminate availability. It will require community, but not the surrender of your standards. It will require humility, but not self-erasure. Release the need to be understood. Activate your authority. Protect the structure that allows your new expression to mature. These are not three inspirational concepts. They are operational requirements. If you release without activating, you become empty and directionless. If you activate without protecting, you become scattered and easily influenced. If you protect without releasing, you turn caution into another prison. All three movements must occur together. This is the point at which many Lightworkers retreat. They hear the directive and immediately search for a softer interpretation. They ask whether the Council truly meant now. They ask whether their circumstances are an exception. They ask whether someone else should move first. You have already asked those questions. The answer remains unchanged. Now I speak to the part of you that has carried the memory of being different without understanding why. I speak to the part of you that entered rooms and felt the structure before anyone explained it. I speak to the part of you that could sense the unspoken agreement beneath a conversation, the concealed fear beneath a rule, and the unused potential beneath a person's resignation. You were not given that perception so you could spend your life diagnosing the atmosphere. You were given it so you could alter the atmosphere through conscious presence and precise action. You are not only a witness to the field, you are one of the forces shaping it. You have waited because you believed the third path needed to be approved by the first two. It does not. You have waited because you believed the elders might withdraw their support if you moved beyond the known design. They will not withdraw support from an honest evolution of the mission. They will withdraw reinforcement from patterns that have become excuses. You have waited because you believed creating a new path meant disrespecting the path that brought you here. It does not. To honor a foundation is not to remain forever beneath the roof it once supported. To honor an ancestor is not to repeat every limitation they endured. To honor the Lyran Legacy is to carry forward its essential principles: courage, discernment, protection of life, intelligent cooperation, and responsibility for power into conditions the ancestors could not have fully predicted. The form may change. The principles must not. This is the standard by which the Council asks you to evaluate every next step. Does it increase your capacity to serve without violating your integrity? Does it make you more truthful, more responsible, and more useful? Does it bring your inner knowledge into a form that another person can actually receive? Does it strengthen life, clarity, and conscious choice? If the answer is yes, proceed without waiting for a perfect sign. If the answer is no, do not decorate the misalignment with spiritual language. The third path is not validated by how unusual it appears. It is validated by the quality of life it creates. It is known by its fruit: greater honesty, greater responsibility, greater compassion, and greater freedom for others to choose consciously. You are now released from the expectation that your mission must resemble someone else's. You are released from the demand to use language that no longer describes your experience. You are released from the role of eternal student, eternal seeker, and eternal almost ready initiate. You are permitted to become a practitioner. You are permitted to make mistakes that can be repaired. You are permitted to revise your methods without withdrawing your commitment. You are permitted to outgrow the audience that only recognized your earlier identity. You are permitted to be visible enough that the people meant to find your work can actually locate you. You are permitted to let your mission become practical. This is the authorization you have been seeking, not an escape from responsibility, but an acceptance of it. The council cannot make your choices for you. The elders cannot speak every sentence, negotiate every boundary, or complete the earthly tasks required to bring your vision into form. But we can name what has been true beneath your hesitation. You are ready to stop choosing between obedience and rebellion. You are ready to become an interpreter of wisdom rather than a repetition of it. You are ready to stand between worlds without apologizing for the complexity of your position. You are ready to let your work be judged by its integrity, not by its familiarity. You are ready to create a path that serves the present without severing itself from the ancient source that gave you strength. By the authority of the High Council of Vega and the keepers of the Lyran Legacy, your preparation phase is no longer permitted to remain indefinite. The period of collecting signs has ended. The period of translating knowing into action has begun. Do not wait for fear to disappear. Fear may accompany you for some distance. Do not wait for everyone you love to understand. Some will understand after they witness consistency. Do not wait until the path feels easy. The third path is difficult precisely because it has not been walked in this form before. What is required now is not certainty, it is clean commitment. Before you sleep tonight, write 3 sentences by hand. Write what you are releasing because it belongs to an old path. Write what you are activating because it belongs to the mission you are choosing now. Write what you are protecting because it must remain intact while your new path takes form. Then read those sentences aloud with both feet on the ground. Do not perform the declaration for an unseen audience. Speak it so your body can hear the decision. Afterward, take one practical action within 24 hours that proves the declaration is more than emotion. Make the call, set the boundary, create the page, reserve the time, share the offering, end the arrangement that requires your dormancy. The action may be small in appearance, but it must be real. The Council does not measure your activation by how intensely you feel in this moment. We measure it by what becomes different after the feeling passes. You chose the third path. Now you must stop treating that choice as a dramatic revelation and begin treating it as a daily discipline. Each morning, ask yourself one question. What would it mean to serve today without betraying either my discernment or my responsibility? Then answer through action. If your work is ready to be spoken, speak it. If your work is ready to be organized, organize it. If your work is ready to be offered, offer it. If your work is not yet ready, stop pretending that endless preparation is refinement and identify the exact skill, resource, or practice still required. The third path has no use for vague delay. Name the next requirement and meet it. You are not being asked to become someone else. You are being asked to stop abandoning the person who already knows. This transmission is complete, but the consequence of receiving it is only beginning. The Council has not gathered to make you feel chosen. It has gathered to make you accountable to what you chose. Carry the wisdom. Question the form. Build what the present moment requires. Remain humble enough to correct yourself and strong enough not to be corrected back into silence. Let your authority become clean, your service become practical, and your path become visible through the results it creates. I am Zoran, speaking with the authority of the elders, and with recognition of the courage you have already demonstrated. The Council was silent because you crossed a threshold no instruction could carry you across. Now the silence is over. Your third path has been witnessed. Your choice has been recorded. Your service begins where your hesitation ends. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments, which directive hit you the hardest, or what you're now ready to release, activate, or protect. Then respond to another Lightworkers declaration with recognition. This isn't content, it's collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it, and if you felt the Elders speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You're not just watching, you're being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Council of Vega is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun.